Hello, my fellow YouTubers. I've come here today with a new guitar review. This time we're doing a Gibson SG, as you can see right here. Gibson SG Standard from 2013. I'm going to be talking about, that's a review. I'm going to talk about the guitar, what I think about it, the color, the neck, the year, why it's a significant year, I guess. The pick guard, all those things, you know. I'm gonna talk about the guitar, rate it. I'll tell you guys what I think about it, pretty much. So yes, starting off with the color of this guitar, you can notice it's called the natural. In some sources I've seen it's called the natural burst is what they call it, but whenever I bought it, it was called the SG natural finish. It's a 2013 once again, and the reason why that year is relevant is because 2013 is the year that they started making the SG standards with the same specs that they do the 1961 SG reissue. The 1961 SG reissue is known for having a very slim tapered neck, a 60s thinner neck. And the thing about this guitar is that I thought it was going to have a really thin neck. I didn't get to play it before I bought it. And whenever I bought it, to my surprise, it is a relatively thin neck compared to other SGs that I've played, but it's not as thin as the Les Paul Classic that I own, you know, that has a slim taper 60s neck. This is definitely not as slim. You can tell a notable difference between those two guitars, the SG Standard and then the Les Paul Classic that also has a slim taper neck. And this is supposed to also be a slim taper neck, you know, kind of like the 61 reissue. That's what all the sources indicate. And if you do a Google search asking what kind of neck do SG standards, 2013 SG standards, what kind of neck profile do they have? They will all say that it's a slim taper neck, like from 60s slim taper. But it's very important to point out that this neck is not very thin. It's almost got that baseball bat feel, but still amazingly comfortable and like amazing neck. This guitar vibrates like crazy. Like whenever you play it, you like strike a chord, you can feel the vibration like throughout, like you can feel it on the neck a lot. It vibrates like crazy, but it's just one of the loudest guitars. Like there's just something about SGs being very loud. I don't know what it is, but it's not the first time that I've heard that too either. I've heard other people say that about SGs too, you know, particularly this video where Rick Beato's talking about his SG. Rick Beato, who's got a great YouTube channel, by the way, a great music channel. He talks about his own SG and how it's got like a modified tailpiece where like it's like over here, kind of like a little bit further back. But they're just talking about how SGs, like there's something about the Mahogany just ringing and resonating, like being extremely loud, acoustically speaking, like in its unplugged form, and it is. Something else to point out about this guitar, speaking of Mahogany, is how gorgeous the wood grain is. Like this guitar has just a gorgeous, like it really does. Like these Mahogany bodies, you know, like the finish is just beautiful. And you look at the back of the guitar and it's an absolute masterpiece. I don't know if you can get a good glance of it right there. I'm trying here, but yeah, these are beautiful bodies, and this is just a solidly built one. This one happens to be in really, really good shape. It hasn't been played that much, so it's got like amazing frets. Still doesn't have a lot of fret wear. I set it up with a super straight neck, you know. I had to tighten it because whenever I got it, it had an insane amount of relief. So I had to tighten the truss rod. So I did that, and now it's got an amazingly straight neck. It just sounds and plays ridiculous. So yeah, this guitar is very special. It's got because it's made with the same specs as the 61 SG. It's got the smaller pick guard, which I'm a big fan of personally. I like the smaller pick guards as opposed to the bigger pick guard on SG standards that you see. You know, standards are also known for having the trapezoid inlays, you know, mother of pearl with the binding on the neck. It doesn't have a lot of rollover, you know, the neck, which is a little bit of a bummer. I kind of like it when they have a more of a rollover, but still, it's an amazing neck. It's ridiculous, honestly. It's beautiful. And what else were we going to talk about? The pickups, to my understanding, these are 57 classic pickups. They just have an amazing sound. You can't go wrong with those ever. It's got the top hat knobs, very classic looking. The pickup switch selector right here feels really good. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about some of the main points about this guitar. One of the biggest ones, oh yeah, having the machine heads, you know, the classic style, vintage looking machine heads. It's got that, and they say that these models from 2013 they have a slightly smaller headstock, is what I've heard. But honestly, this headstock looks pretty big to me, and I've owned many Gibsons before, and the headstock it doesn't look any smaller to me or anything, and in fact it kind of looks bigger. Maybe it's just because I'm holding an SG, which is, I don't know, a lighter feeling guitar compared to the Les Pauls that I usually play. But yeah, this headstock is amazing. I love the headstock on this. It's got the pineapple inlay, or the crown inlay. So yeah. Oh, and another thing to mention is I set this guitar up to have perfect clearance between the saddle, the back of the saddle, and the tailpiece. So it's always good to make sure that there's a little bit of a, even if it's like a millimeter or two distance between the string and the saddle. And I did that, and this guitar gave me no problems. I made the neck super straight, perfect intonation. The intonation is perfect on this. Like, it plays masterfully. So yeah, if you guys have any questions or any comments that you might want to leave, make sure to leave a comment below, like this video, and please subscribe. I would highly appreciate that, and I'm going to keep these videos coming. But yeah, aside from that, thank you so much for watching, and yeah, my name is Jordy Pastor. Thank you. Bye-bye.